Hey everybody, my name is Bradley. I'm Director of Education at Milestones Autism Resources. We're going to be talking today about providing direct support for challenging behaviors, taking people out in the community. I always like to remember that everything that we're doing is when it comes to direct support professionals, everything that we're doing is in service of helping someone have a good life. How are we going to help people have that good life? From my experience, what I have seen is that we want people to feel three ways. We want people to feel safe, we want people to feel connected, and we want people to feel in control of themselves. When I say we want that for everyone, we mean that for the people we're supporting. But that is also what it takes for you as a direct support professional to do your best out in the field, is feeling safe, feeling like you have relationship with your colleagues and with the people you're supporting, and also feeling in control of yourself and calm and that sense of mastery. Now, in order to talk about this, I want to introduce you to several colleagues. First, let's meet Amy and her DSP, Marie.
And we both remember that.
I met her in the waiting room and we were just there chatting.
Yeah, she just started talking to me. And I don't think I even realized it was you at that point either.
Exactly. So it's just like right out of the gate, and then the rest is history.
The rest is history. It truly is.
I also had a round table with 4 of the best direct support professionals I ever worked with: Selena, Sierra, Henri, and Andrea. Now that we've met everybody, I want you to think about the sort of problem behaviors that you have seen that have prevented people from going out in the community, or at least made it harder for people to get out and about.
And I'm walking the individual in, that person was a one-on-one, turned around for 2 seconds, they must have went in their pants, and I got smacked with a load of poop.
On your first day?
Yeah.
I did not realize that was the first day.
I saw it coming like the Matrix. We were walking, almost done. We're by the fruit section. Remember like it was yesterday. Like you said, he got some precursors that you know when they're coming. Started saying some stuff. He started laughing to himself. I was like, uh-oh, gotta wrap this up. 2 seconds too late. A random stranger was just shopping as well. Reached out for him. I saw it coming like the Matrix. Kind of like, oh. And then we was in Costco for an extended journey for the rest of the day.
Oh my.
Are we talking about aggression? Are we talking about self-injury? I mean, I have worked with people who've had a little shoplifting habit, and that has been a barrier to them getting out. I've worked with people having meltdowns at public places like the mall. I had a memorable experience myself providing direct support to someone who wanted to hug every woman at the restaurant, and I'm still processing the embarrassment feeling for myself of that 20 years later, working on healing. People eating fries off of other people's foods at restaurants, people taking off clothes out in public. These are all the sorts of problem behaviors I've run into that have led to it being hard to get people out of the house. And sometimes a person develops a reputation for these sorts of problem behaviors, and pretty soon like, oh, I know we're supposed to go out today, but someone might figure out like, maybe we'll do it tomorrow, or nah, we don't gotta do it tomorrow, we can do it the next day. And time will go by and someone hasn't been out of the house for a week. Time will go by, someone hasn't been out of the house for a month. Then they're calling in behavior specialists to figure out why is this person acting up, and the behavior specialist is trying to connect them to positive things like going out and connecting with other people. And it's been a long time, and it's an uphill battle to get someone safely doing something new. So I worry sometimes there are people for whom their support staff are so afraid of something going wrong that they never go out of the house. Have you ever worked with,
Whole house.
Right.
Yeah, especially when you get out of it, you'd be like, did y'all go out today? No, we didn't go out today because, okay, try us tomorrow. The schedule. Y'all go out today? No, we didn't go out today because, hold on now.
Now it's your fault.
So one more time, whole week. Nobody went anywhere. So why did this occur? It's a lot easier to be at home. Yeah, we understand that, but we don't want to keep them, as captives and prisoners to their own home. Right. Like, that's not life.
No matter how complex someone's behavioral issues are, we say all means all. All people with disabilities do integrated things in the community, and we mean it all. Even if somebody has really troubling behaviors, they still have a place out and about doing things in the community. Now, I'm aware it's not just that simple as do it. That's why so often in direct support, we feel like detectives. We feel like we are spending a lot of time trying to figure out why people do the things that they do. And it can take a lot of time. I like to remind myself that when someone is struggling with a problem behavior, that behavior is just, to put other air quotes on it, just the tip of the iceberg. When it's floating along, a boat sees what's sticking out of the top and they try to steer away, but what they hit, what sinks them, is what's underneath, is all the weight of that ice underneath. Similarly, with problem behaviors, what we see is just the tip. The tip of the iceberg is like the behaviors themselves. If we can figure out what's underneath, figure out what is that person thinking, what is that person feeling, what is the need that they're trying to meet through this bizarre behavior or troubling behavior, we can figure out what that is and help them meet it another way. It's like melting the iceberg. The metaphor that I like to use is that the things that we do that if we're not able to recognize the why and we're just like kind of trying to deal with the behavior, just like trying to get them to stop doing whatever it is, stop grabbing, stop hitting, stop running. Those things that just deal with the behavior are like chipping away at the top of the iceberg. We might make a little dent, but it's not gonna make a huge difference in the long run. Whereas if we can address what's going on underneath, figure out the why, those things, the things that address the why, are like melting the whole iceberg. It's all gonna get smaller, including the behavior that we're seeing. And ultimately, the things that tend to help the most are the things that help the people feel safe, feel connected, and feel in control of themselves. If you find yourself going, oh, what's wrong with you? It can happen. Try to pivot that what's wrong with you into what happened? What happened to you that's resulting in you reacting to the world like this? Maybe it's happening right now. What is happening to you right now? And then if you're able to step back and see that, you can then guess, if I want to help you in this moment, what could I do? I think of it as integrated behavior support. No one is ever just having a behavior. When we're looking at problematic behaviors, we want to look at it in the context of the person's whole life.
And the honey badger really represents autism in my experience with autism. I had severe meltdowns, and with a honey badger, it doesn't stop, it's persistent, and that's how I've been with autism. I've been able to overcome a lot of things and be able to share that with families and professionals who have kids on the spectrum or work with kids on the spectrum.
Because it is part of them navigating the world, it is them trying to meet a need in that moment.
I think there have been some times when you're like, no, we can't go. But that was earlier too, when I wasn't as aware of it as I am now. Because like, she's learned about me, I've learned about me too. And I think I've told you this, my knowledge now and my being able to control myself now is a benefit of almost 30 years of dealing with this and learning how to deal with it and how to speak up for myself.
If we can recognize what the unmet need is, we can start to melt the iceberg instead of just chipping away at the top.
Imagine meeting somebody that you don't have a good relationship with and they gotta come take care of you.
What we're gonna do today is share ideas that are most likely to help people in these situations. I can't tell you that everything we're gonna talk about today is a good fit for everyone. Everything isn't for everyone. We're gonna talk about the things that are most likely to be helpful, but ultimately, you gotta talk to a person's team to see if this is the right thing for them. A lot of them are things you're gonna recognize from people's plans though, because these really are the things that make a difference for people with complex behaviors. So, what is more likely to help? If I had to pick one thing to tell you to focus on, and only one strategy, that strategy is focus on the relationships. Let's hear from our DSP colleagues about the role of relationship in their work.
I believe relationships are important because you want to have a relationship with the person that's taking care of you. Imagine meeting somebody that you don't have a good relationship with and they gotta come take care of you. Would you want that person to take care of you? So after a while, you have to build to know a person.
Whether you're new to the field, whether you've been here for a while, you've never met this person, whether they are on the spectrum or whatever is going on, you can't just walk up to someone and maybe ask them to do something, get in the shower, let's go here. You're actually a stranger and I'm scared. So it's very important to just figure out who the individuals are, and even the staff. Some people just will never click. Some people will click automatically as soon as they see each other, but it's just important to have still a respectable relationship on both sides.
We're gonna have to have respect. Respect. We have to respect, not because they are on the spectrum. We have to treat them with respect, and then we can build relationship. I respect you, you respect me, I speak to you properly.
Building a relationship is key, but making sure that it's genuine is important, and making sure that it's in your own way. Just because you see somebody build a relationship a certain way doesn't mean it's gonna work for you that way. Just to be yourself. They can, just like we can see, hey, if somebody's putting on a front or in there for the moment, they're gonna read through it too, no matter what you think they're capable of. Just being yourself and just being honest is gonna work best for you.
If something goes wrong, I'm relying on her to keep me safe.
So you're just gonna have to just know the person, build a relationship so you can handle this person. It doesn't matter if they're high function, if they're aggressive. We just gonna learn the sign. We learn the sign, we build relationship, everything is fine.
Like, you have to learn their style of communicating, because they might not be able to sit and talk at the table like we can. So everything is a form of communication. That's why it's super important to build that relationship, because you don't want to be at the end of the night asking yourself, well, what happened? But if you learn their style of communicating, then you can work better with them. And to piggyback off what Selena said, even with your coworkers, we all have a different style of communication.
Build relationship and respect. I think your job will be much, much smoother.
We know relationships can't just happen out of nowhere. Often you have to build it. If you are starting a new relationship with an individual that you're starting to support, getting really curious about what makes them tick is the way to go. If you need to take it slow, take it slow. Just spend quality time with them, doing the things that they like. Now, it's gotta be quality time. Being around while doing your paperwork documentation, that doesn't count as quality time. And time together doing like things that are just necessary but not, enjoyable, like, getting meds, isn't necessarily quality time. But if you can spend quality time really paying attention to them while they do the things that they like, playing their favorite games, watching their favorite shows, dancing to their favorite music, going their favorite places. If you're around during those things, it helps the person's subconscious make positive associations with you. And sometimes people will call it a pairing effect, where we are pairing new direct support professional with positive feelings I have about this favorite thing. So if you want it to be my DSP, yes, you should be hanging out while I am eating fresh baked cookies and watching Star Wars movies, for those are my favorite things. The next approach I want to talk about is called Predict, Practice, Plan B. This has gotten really popular, and for really good reason. It's really helpful for just about everyone. Predict, practice, Plan B. You want to help the person predict what's going to happen so it's not a surprise. You want to practice so that their brain kind of, in their own way, goes through what the experience is going to be. And ultimately, if things don't go well, we can do this and still be okay. Predict, practice, Plan B. You can use this to prepare for a single event, like going out into the community, or a big event like, hey, mom's wedding's coming up and we want you to be at your best. Or you can use it to prepare for a change, like the schedule's changing, or so-and-so isn't gonna be working with you anymore, so what are we gonna do? It is closely related to what we call social narratives or social stories in the autism world. And both of them are trying to empower the person with knowledge of what is coming up. This one really focuses on the self-regulation aspect of it. So you want to predict what is coming down. We're going to go to the store. There's probably going to be a few other people there. It's going to be in the same neighborhood we've always gone to. And we're going to have a list of 3 things. We're going to practice what we do when we get there. So we're going to take our list. We'll go down the aisle. Do you want to hold the list or do you want me to hold the list? And when we find the things, we'll put them in the cart, or you want to carry them. Then when you're giving choices, all that stuff. When we get there, we'll take it to the cashier. We'll check out. And if we see anything that we want to buy, we'll check and see if it's on the list. If it isn't on the list, we'll make a future shopping list and put it there. Or if it isn't on the list, we'll put it on our Christmas list to ask someone for the future, whatever that is. That's kind of a bit of a plan B. And also we can have another layer of plan B of, and if you feel anxious, you can tell me and say, hey, I want to go, and we can go right then.
A lot of us can also tell if you're nervous.
Yes.
And that's going to set us even more on edge because we're relying on you to keep us safe if something should go wrong. I mean, we could be out and something happens in an instant and I go into a meltdown. Marie knows how to help me deal with that.
Giving too much information to someone too soon can cause havoc.
Yes.
So you gotta know, like, to somebody, you gotta know how to break it, how to give them a slice of the pie. Give them a little bit today, or maybe not today at all. Maybe just prepare the parents for that. And then maybe talk and say, hey, would you like to do this even though it's already planned, and get their, their feeling of how they actually feel about it.
Or if we're feeling scared, we can call your sister who you like to talk to. Or, if I get worried, I can play with my fidget. Any of the things that are the plan B. Often for us as support professionals, our plan B is how to shorten the activity so that it stays positive. You want to prepare the individual the best you can by helping them know when the outing is going to be, or when whatever the thing is you're preparing them for is. And you want to do it in a way that speaks to their learning style and their processing style.
I remember individuals specifically, we all knew, like, hey, don't say this until such and such time, because he's gonna think about it the entire day or weekend or week. It's gonna cause his anxiety to go through the roof, and he won't even make it to the event just because he's excited. And that's real sad, because he didn't do nothing wrong. He's being himself. Yeah, it just got ruined because the staff didn't prepare him properly.
For some people, I know that if there's going to be something new, I need to tell them about it 3 weeks ahead of time and put it on their calendar and review that calendar every day. There are also some people where I know I could only bring it up 45 minutes before the new thing happens, because if it was more than that, their anxiety would become so overwhelming that they would hurt themselves just trying to deal with it. Whichever the sweet spot is for the person you're supporting, you want to prepare them aiming for that. If this is something that y'all know, it should be in the person's plan. If it's something you, by the way, know as a DSP and it isn't in the person's plan, start talking to the people that work on the plan to let them know what that is, because that is important information for future generations of support professionals. Now, you yourself as the DSP have practical things that you need to do to prepare. Andrea, how do you approach this with your coworkers? When you prep yourself ahead of time, you're just able to pay attention to that person and that relationship.
It literally starts from, if the field trip is on Wednesday, it will start on Monday.
Yes.
Because if I'm sending you out on second shift, I know you're not gonna have time to cook dinner. So I'm gonna have first shift prep that dinner. It literally starts days ahead of time. The prep starts days ahead of time. So, and like you said, if they haven't been out in a while, did I set them up to go out? Did I set them up good? Have I talked to them about going out into the community? Let me send them on a small run first. Tell them who's going to get out the van when you get to this location, who's going to stay in the van with their staff because they're not going to want to get out there. It's a whole preparation thing. And as a manager, a supervisor, a team lead, who's ever planning this thing, you have to think about everybody, from the individuals all the way up to the staff. How is this going to go?
Now, there is also a layer of mental preparation we need to do here for ourselves. You can call it self-care if you want to. You can call it being the calmer person. You can call it grounding. But if you're someone who works with people who struggle with mental health issues or challenging behaviors, you're probably already doing this. And if you're not, I think you're gonna like it.
I have to do the work before I get there. I do deep breathing, try exercise, I get my mind ready so I can prepare for whatever. Because I'm saying Amy's not the only person that I have to deal with. So I pretty much work every day. So I have to prepare myself for whatever I can walk into. So I have to get my mind right. I pray, I meditate, I exercise.
There are things we can do to create a calm for ourselves that then becomes a contagious calm for other people. Tell us about it, team.
Have you ever had a time where you have a shift and it's just like, it was bad? How do you learn from those bad shifts? Is there a story you can tell anyone?
Well, yes, of course. I'm sure we all had a shift that was just bad. I really had to like replay the shift in my head, like what happened, you know? And what I could come up with was like, it was like a lot of loss of rushing, communication, you know, not really communicating with the individuals, and no preparation work behind it, you know? So not introducing them to who they about to work with, especially when you get new staff coming in. You know, there's preparation work behind that as well, so.
The people who voice, or even, it's simple things, the volume, it's like, sometimes you need to be monotone. Yes, there's a lot going on, yes, you run around, but it's like, oh, okay. Well, I guess we're not going out today.
Well, that's what I appreciate about the trauma responsive training, is it teaches people like me who say too much and have too much energy to bring that calming energy.
Well, that's interesting that you say that. So, something that I've learned about myself over the years of life, I pick up on energies even when I don't want to.
Me too.
It has its pros and cons to it. So, when I step into a situation, this is more past situations. If it's up, I'm up. I'm down, I'm down. So I realized, just like my voice, even keel is better, because I don't want to feel your low. And sometimes I don't want to feel your high. I just want to be where I am. And in that situation, like you said, bring them into your calm. Sometimes you go into a house, like you said, the shift before was nuts. Breakfast was not what anybody wanted. It was some cereal or some crackers or something. Lunch didn't even get packed, so they had whatever they had at their school or where they were going, or day service. So you come in second shift, they on 10, and you can't even blame them. You're getting bits and pieces. Half the staff already done left. Some is still there trying to fill you in. If you get a fill in, and then you got your regular crew is not even there. Maybe it's some people that's from never house helping in. Just a total storm. It's chaos. You can't come in there nothing else but even keel, or you're going to lose your mind.
When you are at your most grounded and at your best during these new activities, not only do you have more brain power and more energy to watch the person and see how they're doing and plan ahead, but you also are able to kind of move smoothly through the challenges to make sure that it ends well if things aren't perfect.
Yeah, you cannot enter their storm. If they are in an uproar, their anxiety is high, you have to step back, analyze it so you can keep your peace. And the goal is to bring them into you, bring them into your peace, not into everything that they got going on. Because if you go into their storm, that's when the voices go get elevated, your anxiety is going to get high. The next thing you know, you in a hole for 30 minutes or longer, and the day still hasn't ended. You still have a whole day to go through. So yes, my thing is, a staff told me that. I heard that in a meeting that I was having with one of my staff. And she said, bring them into your peace. Don't go into their storm. However she said, it was just beautiful. I was like, that makes a lot of sense. So with that, even when, that's why the checking yourself at the door is important. That's why all your preparation leading up to work is important, because you have to be the peace, because you never know what you're walking into.
When you're starting something new with someone, don't try to hit it out of the park the first time. The goal isn't to have this amazing, dramatic, oh my gosh, now I'm finally at the movie theater, at the zoo, like I've always wanted. That's not really how life works. The way life works successfully is you go in little pieces. You want to start short and build. This makes me think of someone I used to work with when I was a DSP. This dude had just moved into a new house, and he was getting very overstimulated by the other people and would get really excited, and he would start pulling on our shirts. I think he was interested in my tummy, which is not his business. But he would get overstimulated, and then we would redirect him. Okay, you're getting kind of grabby, time to go somewhere else. And what the behavior specialist pointed out to us at the time is, every activity this guy does ends with him getting overstimulated, grabbing at people, and us saying leave. It's become a pattern where we need to help him remember that he can end things positively. So we would start shortening it out so that we didn't wait until he got upset and then leave. We would always limit it and keep going while the going was good. So when you're doing new community things with someone, bear that in mind. First time you go to the new place, do it really, really short. End on a positive note so the person has the experience of, we went, it was new, I did good, and then I was happy. Then I went home and had a snack, or whatever it is we do. Do it for a couple more minutes the next time. Start short and build up. You're not trying to get to the end goal right away. You want to make sure the person has the ability to go through the new thing successfully and to get into the rhythm of, I do this and it goes well. So that they don't learn that in order to make something stop happening or get out of something unpleasant, they have to act up. When you're choosing where to go with people, there is no objective truth of where the best place is to go. It's entirely subjective according to the person you're supporting. I want you to think about what's interesting to them, but also the sweet spot of like overstimulation for them. If it's someone who loves animals, going to a dog park or a zoo might be the perfect motivation for them. It also could be so overwhelming that their senses get overwhelmed and they can't do anything but act out just to deal with it. I can't tell you which it is for the person you're supporting. If we know it might be in their plan, or maybe you got to talk with the team. Whatever it is, you want to hit that sweet spot of motivating without being overstimulating. And do those short visits to that nice place that has just the right amount of people, just the right amount of activity, just the right amount of interest. Keep it positive and short. And once you have those positive and short experiences, they can start to diversify and try different things. I want to introduce you to Melissa Baker. She's a speech pathologist. She's going to show us 3 different types of visual schedules that we can use.
So there are many reasons it is important to utilize visual supports with individuals with special needs. One of the main reasons is that verbal speech can be challenging for them to process. A visual support has staying power and can be referenced again and again. With speech, something is said once and it is gone. It is tempting for us working with people to repeat something again for the individual, and they are still trying to process the first direction that was given. Visual supports can help establish structure and routine. Many individuals with special needs feel less anxious when they know what to expect ahead of time, and it also helps them to know what to do in the moment. So I'd like to show you some visuals that I've utilized, and I'm sure you have seen or have utilized in your work as well. So one of the things that I've created is a visual story, or you might have heard them as called social stories. So that is something that I like to do ahead of doing something. So we're taking the individual out to the store. So before we go to the store, we're gonna think about the steps that are involved in going to the store. And then we're gonna depict that through a book form with some visual supports. So helping them to know, okay, what is the expectation of this store visit? What are we purchasing while we're at the store? What am I gonna be doing while I'm there? The other thing is, I think too, is being careful of, like, they need to feel like it's not gonna last forever. That this activity is limited amount of time. Like, I just have to kind of keep myself together for a certain amount of time while I'm in the public and while I'm out in the community. So the idea is that we're going to a store and we are gonna buy a couple items. So we're taking this individual out. They may be someone who has some behavioral challenges, so we're doing this to kind of help prepare them, get them ready. I would recommend doing this maybe a couple of days ahead of taking them on an outing. So you're preparing them, several days in advance. They've read this, they know what the expectation is. So let's just go through the book really quickly, and then I'll also show you a visual schedule that we can use once we are actually in the community.
I love it.
Okay, it's time to go to the store, you're ready to go. You would print out a schedule of what are we going to do while we're in the store. So something like this is a checkoff schedule. So we just have pictures of this is more simple than the story. So we're gonna ride to the store, we're gonna get a basket, we're gonna get 1 bottle of shampoo, 1 bag of chips, check out and pay, and then go home. So what we would do with this is as we're riding to the store, we're kind of showing the individual the schedule so they know that this is what we're gonna do when we get there. So once we arrive to the store, then we're gonna use a marker and we're gonna check that one off. The person you're with, it might be helpful to actually cross it off completely and not just check it off, but we're totally done with we rode to the store, you got through that part. So now they know they only have this many more steps and then the activity is gonna be over. So sometimes individuals have a hard time when they see too much on a page. So this is overwhelming. Like I don't wanna have to look at this entire schedule. So this is kind of a reveal schedule. So what you can do, it has flaps and you cut flaps in for each of the pictures. So you still have your schedule just like we had it. And you're gonna fold down the flaps.
Okay.
So it's gonna reveal them as you do them. So I really like this idea because it's less visually overwhelming. So that you would just lift the flap and say, okay, we're gonna ride to the store.
I like that one as well.
Yeah, and then, okay, next. Now we're gonna get a basket. And if you want, you can also cross these off, they're finished as you're going. And that way it's not so much to think about and you're taking kind of one step at a time instead of looking at everything as a whole. So that's another interesting kind of visual support that's easy to make. The other thing you can do is use a whiteboard. So I brought one to show us. So you just have a whiteboard, you have a marker, and you're just gonna put together a visual by drawing. So I'm gonna apologize in advance. My drawing is atrocious.
I believe in you, Melissa
Do you
Baker.
believe? Okay, well, thank you. 'Cause that's bad. My stick people are bad. Okay, so here's the store. We're going to the store.
Love it.
Okay.
Okay, Brad, we're at the store, so you can erase the store now. Okay, good. Okay, did you get your basket? Get your basket.
Oh, I got my basket.
Got your basket. Okay, erase the basket. All right, now let's go. We'll go down the aisles and get the shampoo. Got your shampoo?
Cool.
All right, erase the shampoo.
And it allows me as the individual to get more involved and feel the satisfaction of making it disappear. And I swear, I have seen speech therapists and teachers and experienced DSPs use dry erase boards and just pointing to words and having a person erase, and someone who is really escalated like works through a self-calming schedule by doing stuff like that. Heck, I even used, when I worked at a school, there was a young woman who we would write out her work schedule and we would know what she was thinking, because if there was something she didn't like, she would go, no, and scratch it off with her finger.
I hope I've inspired you to use some of these tools, these visual tools with the individuals that you're working with. And I hope you see the power in them and how helpful they can be. And I hope I've shown you some ways to make it easy and quick, if on the fly, or, if you have some time and you can prepare to make them ahead of time, that's great. But if you can't, then do it on the fly, and that's okay too. But using something is better than using nothing. Thank you.
And that, team, are ways that you can increase your confidence to take people out into the community, even if they have challenging behaviors. Remember, all these aren't gonna work with everyone. Talk to your team, work together. When it comes to people with complex needs, it takes a village. And trust yourself, you can use that therapeutic relationship to help people find a new way. I look forward to seeing you out in the community. Check out some of the other resources on our website, and I'll see you on the other side. Bye. My favorite part of the whole thing is the more I learn about this stuff, the more I recognize that what people receiving disability services need are the same things that their staff need.